Okay, in this little video I wanted to show you how using a particular collection of tools you can easily and quickly set up fairly complex B2C custom journeys, deploy them and demonstrate them. So I'm in Visual Studio. I have already installed B2C extensions, although actually I won't be really using them or demonstrating much of them in this particular case. I'm going to open a terminal window, go to an empty directory so we can start our work. Whoops, didn't work. No, let's go to cd tempt, Nectar demo 1, cd demo 1, and there's nothing here, of course. I'm now going to connect to my B2C tenant. This is using device code flow, which is somewhat easier to implement across multiple platforms and authorization code. And we're now logged in. Hopefully, yep, there we are. I'm going to now pull down a set of existing IefPolicies from the starter pack. New IefPolicies, social and local we'll use. Here they are. I'm going to make sure they are visible to us through the folder view in this workspace, so code -a period. And there they are. All these XML files came from the B2C Git, from the Git repository for starter packs. And then this file was created to provide space for some variable parameters, which we'll be using as we go along. Now, I can obviously import these files to my tenant, although that doesn't do particularly very much in this stage, since the policies really implement what the portal-based user journeys would have implemented in any case. So there's nothing particularly new here. But we can now start extending these policies and adding new things. By the way, the upload modified the XML files per the tenant to which I was importing them to, my B2C. Obviously, it had replaced the names of B2C, add some additional IDs, etc., and then put all these files into a debug folder. But that's not of particular interest to us. We won't be really working in that folder at all. We'll be working on these policies. Let's now add some existing sample codes. There are two main repos of samples that I use. One is the B2C community samples, and there's a lot of samples here. And then another one is my own samples that I keep in a separate repo. So let's take one of those. Let's say we'll take the change password policy sample and incorporate them into our policy set. So this will be add IefPolicies sample, and it'll be change password, I think it was. Password. What it does, it pulls down that particular policy or policy set if there's more than one XML file. In this case, it pulled down the password change policy set. It's right here. And we'll re-import these policies into my B2C tenant. Let's just... this one actually is the leftover from a previous demo. So we can get rid of it. There is the password change that we just uploaded. Let's run it. It's a standard sign-in, and here is my password change screen that's provided by this particular policy. So we see that the adding of the sample has worked for us. Let's add a sample from my own policy set. In this case, let's go back to policy set. I've got a policy called all-in-one There's a whole bunch of other samples here, but the one that I want to do is the all-in-one, which combines what you otherwise would need to have two or three journeys for: sign in, sign up, password reset, and profile edit, all into one journey. So you just need to have one journey available to your application. So this policy has the example of the command that you would use to add it. We'll go back, add it, and let's import it again. It's there. It obviously added another relying party, added some additional claims, etc., etc. And so if we go back to the portal and reload it, now we've got the all-in-one loaded up. We can run it. And here is my journey. So if I sign in, if I check on edit profile and sign in, I should be able to get to the editing of my, in this case, just my first name and last name profile. Um, Again, a new journey that we just set up. Let's do something else. Let's add support in our policy set for any Azure account, any Azure AD account. So add IefPolicies, IDP, AAD, and we'll call it work. Now this did a little bit more. It added obviously an application, registered an application in my tenant. It lists what it did here. It created a new it updated the existing relying parties so that they can now use this additional journey. All that stuff was put into the another folder called federations. I'm going to, and it added the additional updates to the configuration file as well. I'm going to live dangerously and take all these files and just basically overwrite or replace my existing files and now load it up again. Okay, let's run the all-in-one one more time. And you now see that now it has the additional button for work with school accounts, meaning that anyone with an Azure commercial, Azure AD sign-in will be able to sign into my application through B2C. So if I click on that, that'll actually single sign me through my already signed in Microsoft account, Microsoft corporate account, into my B2C, and there I am. So obviously it made those in order to accomplish that, it had to do quite a few modifications. It had to, for example, take the existing sign up journey and inject the additional exchanges that we've just added to the policy. Um, uh, let's add another XAML relying party in this case. So this will be new IefPolicies. We want to support a XAML application. So we need to add a new relying party that exposes a XAML endpoint. This command now added a new relying party called XAML Suzy. It doesn't look so nice at first. We could just fix up the documentation, the display. It basically replaced the existing last step of the existing sign-up sign-in journey with one that's using XAML, and that's defined in the extensions file that is somewhere else here as well. It also provides me with the metadata address that the application should use to make use of this token issue, or B2C as a token issue in this case. I won't run it. I don't have a XAML application readily available, so I won't finish that setup. But certainly makes it much faster and much faster to both incorporate samples, add some higher level functionality, and then securely load these policies into B2C without worrying too much about making sure that the correct GUIDs are used, names are used, etc. Just to clean it all up, let's remove IefPolicies, and all the policies were called with a prefix called V1, so we'll just say V1, and that will be a happy end of this particular demo. Thanks so much. As I said, I'll put all the links to tools that I've used into the notes associated with this video. Thank you.